Hey everybody, welcome back to the Codex Station. We're doing another round of Comic Character of the Week. As always, I'm Sal the Slab Guy, and with me as always, I got Dan the Man, Dan Kelly. We've got the Archduke Kevy, and we got the man behind the scenes, the man behind the curtain, the one that pulls the strings for everything, Jamie. How you guys doing tonight?
Ducky, how about
Pulling
you?
strings.
I'm looking forward to it.
Very good. Oh yeah, looking forward to this one. This is going to be a great episode. So, but first, let's get a little business out of the way. Let's say where do you want to find me at? Well, you can always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and under Instagram as a Slab Guy 77. How about you, Dan? Where can people find you when they're not here on the Codex Station?
You can check me out on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Post art, music, and writing. So go check it out. Give me a follow. And while you're doing that, check out what he's got going on as well.
What's going on, guys? I created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character of the Day, where we post a different character and all sorts of other goodies related to this geekery that we all know and love. We'd love to have you come over, check us out, join up, and become part of our clan there. With that, Jamie, what's up?
Not too much. Has been working like a dog, but if you guys already seen any episode, you know what I'm about to say. Go check out the codexstation.com, your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team. Let us know what you like, don't like, and find all of our socials down at the bottom so you guys don't miss out on any of the content that we are providing for you, because there's a ton. And also stay tuned so that way you guys know, because we're revamping some of the shows, bringing some old stuff back, bringing you guys more goodies with everyone else and their own specific shows as well. We also have a shiny new Patreon, so guys, go check that out. You can scan that QR code, take you directly to the website. There are 2 tiers. The first tier is about a cup of coffee. Got that time. Definitely go check that. And then we have the second tier, which is $7. You guys get a lot from us, from questions to certain hosts, shout outs from certain hosts, full unedited episodes. Definitely worth the price. So go check that out. But I am very, very excited to say too that we do have new merch, and I'm pretty sure is that Bagley?
Is it?
Yeah. The new shirt is that Bagley art, inspired by our very own Tim Morse himself, drawn up by Dan Kelly, colors by me. So definitely go check that out. And you can save yourself 10% on the store by using the keyword Codex, the CODEX, no hyphen.
Awesome.
Definitely.
With that being said, let's get into the show, Sam.
Definitely. Looking forward to those tweaks to the show too. Can't wait. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting, but not as exciting as tonight. Because tonight we are covering Venom. And we're talking the Eddie Brock version of Venom, although we may deviate a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to talk about everything good about Venom. So, Dan, give us all the deets on Venom.
All right, so his first appearance was, he made some cameos and things, but his first full appearance was Amazing Spider-Man 300 in May 1988, created by writer David Michelin and artist Todd McFarlane. The story is Eddie Brock was a disgraced reporter who had written a story about the character, the Sin Eater, and who he really was, and got big accolades. And then it turned out Spider-Man, he was wrong, and Spider-Man captured the real Sin Eater, and Eddie Brock got disgraced, lost his job, blamed Spider-Man for it. While at the same time, Spider-Man had the black alien symbiote costume that he got on Battleworld during Secret Wars, who he found out wasn't a costume, but was an alien life form trying to attach itself to him. So he got it off of himself, and the famous scene where he's in the church and ringing the big bells because it's hurt by Sonics. So it gets off of him, and then Eddie Brock is in the church praying. Symbiote comes down, senses his hatred for Spider-Man, bonds with him, and they become Venom.
We've all been there.
Yep. As far as powers, it's pretty similar to Spider-Man. The super strength, can generate webs. He can do other stuff too. He has some shape-shifting abilities. He can camouflage himself, kind of make himself invisible. He can't be detected by Spider-Man's spider sense, and the symbiote and the host telepathically communicate with each other.
Good stuff. All right, before we start digging into the scenarios, let's go ahead with our sponsor from WGG. Jamie, why don't you play that commercial for us?
I can definitely do that. Give me one. There we go. All right, guys, check out our sponsor and partner, Dubby Energy. That's Dubby.gg if you guys want to go find more of this product. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is my first time actually trying it. We did get it. Me and Sal actually did get it about a few days ago. This is my first time using it. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the most energy I've ever had on one of these episodes. I am not lying. I've been bouncing in my chair. This is the cleanest form of an energy drink you will find on the market. Trust me when I say that. There's no jitters, there's no angst, there's nothing but pure energy drinking this. Right now, I'm drinking the Dragonade, and it is phenomenal. No bad aftertaste like most of those energy drinks that you find out there. So, guys, definitely go check out Dubby, and that's Dubby.gg for more, and use the code word code-X at checkout and save yourselves 10% on your order and purchases. And if you don't believe me, let's hear from Sal himself, who doesn't even like energy drinks.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I never liked energy drinks. It was always too jittery. The crash was terrible after them, and the taste was also horrible on lots of those. So I stayed away from them. But now I've tried this one, and I'm telling you, there was no jitters. There was no crash. It tasted great. There was no bad aftertaste. I love this energy drink. This is a good thing to have, and I'm definitely going to buy some more.
Awesome.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Nice.
So, yeah, just to let you guys know, I am rocking still the big energy tiers. They did just release a new flavor as well, Calio Cream, which is an orange mango creamsicle style. Already on my order, waiting for it to get in. As soon as I get it, we'll tell you guys how it is too.
Definitely. I'm waiting for that green sludge stuff. I'm waiting for the green sludge. Definitely. All right.
It's back.
Oh, good.
Woo.
I'm gonna go hit that site then later. All right. So moving on here, we're gonna check out the scenarios of what works best for this character. So, Kevin, why don't you kick us off and tell us what works best for you?
All right. What I have is I personally think he works best when they're wrong. There we go. When they explore the dynamic between the host and the symbiote, when they're in agreement or when they're in conflict, it doesn't matter. The alien mindset meeting the human mindset and their interactions between the two characters bonded together, I think, is the most interesting way that he's written. But that's my my take on where I think he works best. He's most interestingly written when they're in communication and the action is there, but is secondary to what's going on in their head. I love that when they get into that with Eddie and the symbiote.
Very cool. Very cool. Jamie, what do you got for best?
So what I think works best is when, to me, he's untethered. There's no like, for me, the Venom and symbiote, and Eddie Brock should not have this kind of like softened nature to them. It seems like over time that they've had it, but when they're unleashed and they can be what they were meant to be from the beginning, I think that's the best aspect of it. I truly do think as a villain, it's great. When it comes more into the anti-hero hero side of things, I just feel like it's watered down and softened too much. So when literally Eddie's like, "Don't do it, Venom," and Venom's like, "I'm eating his head," that's when I think it works best, because of the fact that there's still conflict there. There isn't no like, "You're right, I'm right, we're all right, let's go." So him as a villain to Spider-Man and to anybody else that comes into the scheme of things is where I think he works best in.
Okay, very good. All right, Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jamie. I like the early iteration of him when I didn't mind so much when they made him not really a hero, but like a kind of anti-hero, like when they did Lethal Protector. Because even when they did that, he was still completely unhinged. Like you said, completely unstable. But that's how I like him best, is not, oh, I'm working alongside the Avengers and we're going to do this. Like, no, he's the, like Jamie was saying, like, oh, I'm just going to eat this guy's head. Like, and yeah, where he's, you don't know what's going to happen. He is a psychopath. And even when he was a villain to Spider-Man, he still had the kind of thing where he would say like, oh, it's like when he killed a prison guard breaking out of prison, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's sad, when innocents have to die. I feel bad." And he's like patting the guard on that he just killed on the head. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry about that." Like, but it's just that psychoticness of it, where, like, okay, he's still, he's not going after, he's not like, I'm going to try and rob a bank, or I'm going to attack this to like take over the world. He's like, I want to kill Spider-Man because I hate him so much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
definitely.
What about you, Seth?
Yeah, just being completely unstable is what it means. What about you, Sal?
I got to agree with both of you guys as well. The unhinged factor is really awesome, but I also like when he uses the symbiote to its maximum potential. Like, he's using it to create the weapons. He's using it to go camouflage. He pushes Spider-Man or Peter Parker onto a train track just to test out the fact that his spider sense doesn't work against him. And then he quickly camouflages himself and he's gone. And Peter Parker's like, "What the hell just happened there? Why was my spider sense not working?" That type of thing. But I love that. And the unhinged factor was, like you, Dan, said, when he was petting the guard's head, "I'm sorry I had to kill you. It's sad." That's pretty cool. That's all. But also, when we go to the anti-hero side, I kind of like the fact that Eddie and the symbiote were working a little bit together to say, okay, we're still going to eat bad guys. We're still going to kill them and, eat their brains or something like that. But it will only be bad guys, that type of thing. So I did like that. It wasn't really to me, it wasn't watered down. It was more like a focused type situation, So that's what I kind of liked. That's what I think works best.
That's fair.
So, and now in this, now we have all got badass moments. So I'll go ahead and I'll kick this off with my 3 badass moments.
Right.
So
is
for
it
the
just
first
3?
one I've got.
Yeah.
It's 3 for the show. If we're going to do an after show, I've got 20 more. Okay. So for my badass moments, I've got, he actually twists off the head of one of the jury guards during one of the Amazing Spider-Man series, and he's actually saying, as he's twisting off his head, he's like, "Ooh, this has a twist top," and it just rips the head right off, like he's opening a bottle of soda or something, and I just thought that was pretty badass. So now the other one in the Amazing Spider-Man 347, where him and Spider-Man had that final confrontation on the island, and he believes he's killed Spider-Man because Spider-Man found that skeleton and was able to trick him. And he's holding up the skull, and he's like, Spider-Man, at last I've killed you, I killed you well, that type of thing. And they got a cover for that, which is was just a rockin' badass moment.
Yeah.
And now I got another scene from Maximum Carnage, and this was kind of like a threefold effect. This is like a threefold effect. So in this Maximum Carnage series, at this one point, Carnage actually has him captured, tied up. I believe they're in the Statue of Liberty. So Carnage has like a fire under him. He's hurt. He's really wounded, and he barely has the symbiote on him. And you don't know where the symbiote is because you don't see it. And then during this story, they acquire a sonic gun from the Fantastic Four, and now Carnage has that gun. So what you don't know is that the symbiote was getting away from the fire by hiding in the sonic gun. So not only was the symbiote healing itself because it was able to get away from the fire, it was dismantling the sonic gun. And then Eddie Brock taunts Carnage enough to use the gun on him. But now the gun is actually filled with the symbiote, and he shoots it, and it just goes like that all on Eddie Brock. And now Venom is like restored back to, I wouldn't say 100%, but maybe like 90%. It was able to break free and fight and then escape out the way. So I thought that was a pretty badass story because of the 3 factors with that.
That is
so
that
Dan,
is really cool. So a couple of
things.
Yeah.
Definitely. Dan, what do you got for 3 badass moments?
So I'll start off. I got the scene from Venom Sign of the Boss #1, where he is he's been kind of co-opted by this government agency to be an agent for him, even though he is still at this time he's the anti-hero, but he's still a raging psychotic. And he uses the symbiote to disguise him as a nun and is waiting for these thugs to attack the church. And when they do, he's finally given the go-ahead to like, okay, take him out. So he transforms from the nun into Venom and murders these guys, but it's in the church in front of all these kids in the choir. And then all he does is looks at the kids and, basically is like, oh, sorry I had to do that. Here, have a chocolate. And like, and just tries to give the kid a chocolate bar because they had established earlier that the symbiote is like addicted to chocolate.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty out there. I'm also going to say Venom 153 when he lets himself get eaten by Devil Dinosaur.
Yep.
So when he can use the symbiote to like and it's not enough to cover all of Devil Dinosaur, but it's enough of him to cover him to take control of him. But then you see like Eddie on top, partially covered in the symbiote, and then Devil Dinosaur partially covered in it, running and going to attack, which, I mean, it's a Venom dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's epic.
And then the last one I got is from the King in Black series. It starts at the end of issue 4 and goes into issue 5, where Knowles come down and is just beating everybody, taking over. He's won. And then, Eddie is lying there at death's door. They don't think he's going to make it. And then the power of Captain Universe comes down, goes into him, and essentially makes him this like the god of light. And he heals. He goes to fight Null. And when he's getting ready to fight him, Null's like, oh, whatever. And all the other heroes are around. So he summons Mjolnir from Thor. And Thor's like, he shouldn't be able to do that. And then he also summons this big sword that the Silver Surfer had. And then he combines them into one to make this just great big axe. And then he proceeds to just, and remember, this is after like Knowles come and like toasted everybody.
Yep.
And he just proceeds over the next few pages to just beat the brakes off of him single-handedly and just save the day completely. And even though, some of the stuff that happened that I'll get into with some later stuff, like that was, I mean, that's a pretty badass moment. So, what about you, Jamie? What do you got?
So you guys had one each of mine. I originally had, which I always do, I always find a villain, but Venom vs. Carnage with their iterations. But I had the Statue of Liberty scene automatically on top because I thought that was fantastic in the way it was schemed out, already ready to go. Him in that gun and then using that as a tactic was amazing. I had also the fight with Null and becoming the new King in Black. I just thought that was probably one of the best twists I've seen in a fight in a long time, because even at the beginning of that book, it always starts off the same. Oh, well, you thought it was this person, but before that person, there was this person. And before Blackness, there was this. Before this, there was that. Now I'm like, oh, we're going in this kind of story again. But the ending was completely amazing to me. The last part that I got for Venom Badass Moments is his creation of all the symbiote family he has now. And I'm from Carnage to Toxin to Scream to Anti-Venom to the list just goes on. The symbiote spreading, I blame Eddie 3,000% for all of them. But they're all great iterations, so I can't be upset.
Fair.
What about you, Kev?
So I have okay, so kind of the same thing that you were saying there, Jamie, finding out that the Venom symbiote can actually reproduce itself asexually and bond to other humans to replicate itself. Just the fact that, like, we had no idea that it was capable of doing that. And when the little drop of symbiote was left over and was discovered by Cletus Cassidy, it was just a mind-blowing, like, oh, crap, it can do that. Moment. I thought that was pretty amazing. And I had the two, but I separated them out with one, with number 2 being becoming the new god of the symbiotes as a moment that's separate from number 1, which was combining the Silver Surfer's sword with the Thor's hammer to create a battle axe while being infused with the power of Captain Universe. It was just like, the most epic thing I've seen in Marvel in decades. It was like, holy crap, this is so next level. So yeah, those are my three. Kind of the same with a lot of you guys, but I separated one into two
Right.
there. So.
That's fine. That's fine. Epic,
Yeah.
man. Epic.
Yeah.
But as always, we got critiques and criticism. So where does this character suck? Where is this character really bad at? So Dan, let's start with you on this one.
I got two. One of them is them making him a superhero, and I get it. It's good to see characters evolve because we don't want them to stay stagnant. But as I said, I like Venom where he's the unhinged, unstable, psychotic. Where even when he is the superhero, like in Lethal Protector, and after that, even after he realizes when his ex-wife made him realize, oh, Spider-Man saved me once, and he's like, oh, if I kill him, all the innocents he would save in the future would die. But he's still crazy, and still nobody trusts him. That's what I like. I don't like when they make him a superhero and he's teaming up with the Avengers and they're like looking to him for what they're gonna do. Like, I don't like that, and I feel like they've introduced too many symbiotes. Like, okay, you had Venom and it's cool. And then, after a few years, they're like, oh, let's make one that's even more unhinged. Let's do Carnage. Like, okay, that's cool. But then even in Lethal Protector, it's like, oh, well, we've got these other ones here too. But then it was, the whole symbiote plan and all that, and it's just too many of them. And I feel like they do that in comics a lot. It's, oh, Superman's cool for Krypton. Like, let's introduce a bunch of other Kryptonians. Like, this character's really cool. Let's introduce a ton of other ones and like take the uniqueness of them away. So that's so that's kind of one of the things that I don't like is just them kind of watering him down with that. So what about you, Kev?
Here's where we're gonna start to throw down the four of us, because I said we want to eat your brains. I mean, yes, it's cool, and there's no problem. There's nothing wrong with that. But when they reduce him to simply that, I think it makes the character very one-dimensional, and therefore not as interesting as he can be. Because it's been developed. He's been developed for decades now, and he's a very interesting character. But I think if they just do the slobbering, drooling monster, he's deeper than that, and I think that's just kind of weak when they reduce him to his lowest common denominator in such a fashion.
Well, you were right about one thing, Kev, and I'll give you this real fast.
Okay.
Is that not every villain needs a redemption arc?
Absolutely.
And you just contradicted the hell out of yourself on that one.
Hey, duality.
Duality. See, we're using big words on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it makes him interesting when he is like the anti-hero and he's trying to protect the innocent, but he's still like a raving psychotic that's like, oh, I'm going to protect you by taking this bad guy and ripping his arms off and eating
in front of you.
But even with that,
it's like frog legs.
But even with that, he has a certain depth, as opposed to just like what they did to him in Dark Web, where they just like turned him into like, I want to kill Spider-Man. Like we've
that
been
was
there.
yeah. Okay.
We've been there.
I'm just now starting Dark Web, so
whoops.
Spoiler
it's
alert.
okay. I'm gonna figure it out. But yeah, I mean, great opinions on it all around. Mine is now with how it is currently, not back like in the 90s era, but more now than anything else, is his way of always needing help. Like, to me, is just, it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, this is getting redundant. I mean, you look at something like even Anti-Venom, when he was Venom Space Knight, joined up with the Guardians because he's like, I want to help more. And then King in Black, I need to get to the Avengers right now. And they're like, oh, you want to be a member? No, please don't do this. Don't do this to me. Don't make him a member of the Avengers. Keep him under Thunderbolts. Keep him somewhere separate. It to me is like every, kind of like what Kevin has said previously. Every character doesn't need a redemption arc. They don't need to have this light at the end of the tunnel. Some guys just need to be bad
Yes.
and rip off heads and drool. I don't care if it makes the character. That's the uniqueness of that character. And if it's drooling and eating brains, I'm cool with it because this character's badass enough to do that.
Okay, that's absolutely valid.
You could have him drool on the cover of every single issue, and people are still gonna buy it. It doesn't matter.
I mean, if people won't, Sal will. So
373 copies.
So what is it? What is it for you, Sal? You picked the character. What is it? Your criticism of him?
Actually, you and Kevin kind of hit it on the head for me. I don't like the dumb one-dimensional Venom. Oh, I'm gonna eat Spider-Man brains, which it's good that he had that hatred. It kind of gave him that focus. But when they reduce him just to that, I just feel like it's a waste. It's a waste. And the other thing I really hated is, even though I enjoyed like Venomverse and the Planet of the Symbiotes and all that other good stuff, and King of Black, I felt like it was like, oh my God, we're oversaturating the market with it. I almost feel like, he's the Wolverine of the symbiotes because he's in everything. He's everywhere, and he's doing everything. And
it's equivalently the Batman of
Batman.
No,
yeah. And that's how I feel like they felt like they took a good thing and they're like, oh yeah, we got to do this now with it more. And that's what happened with that. And I think it's just oversaturated with it now. And it's really taken away the uniqueness of the character.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
I like the spawning, the forced spawning, and how the other symbiotes came about and stuff like that. And actually, Anti-Venom was not a spawn, Jamie. It was actually Mr. Lee, Mr. Negative, who actually cured Eddie Brock and then turned whatever Venom cells that he had left in him from the symbiote into an anti-Venom cells, and that's how he became Anti-Venom. And that but
it was still part of Venom that created the anti-Venom.
That's true. That's true. But Mr. Lee's the one that flipped it. So.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't saying like it was something that naturally just came off of him to create the character. I was just saying it was a part of him to create these characters.
Okay, I got you, buddy. We're good.
Yeah, sorry, I should have been more elaborate with how I was speaking.
That's all right. That's all right.
Because I knew I was gonna. As soon as I said it, I'm like, he's gonna correct me. That was the first thing that went through my brain.
Even what we're saying with like too many symbiotes, hurting his uniqueness. How many characters have been the host just for the one Venom symbiote? Like, it's been what?
Oh my God!
And Ash Thompson and Mac Gargan and Eddie Kidd and the one guy that the symbiote didn't like, and he just like dropped him out of the sky and killed him.
The gangster character.
Yeah.
And then
Lee Murphy.
Yeah, Lee Murphy. And then while Flash Thompson had the symbiote, it actually spawned a bit to the girl who became Mania. So there's that as well. And then so anyhow,
like everybody gets their turn wearing the symbiote.
I know. And then when the Venomverse came out, and when the Venomverse came out, it was like, okay, symbiotes for everybody. It's like, here you go, everybody, that type of thing. But always we got top covers that we love with this character. So Kevin, why don't you kick us off and show us your top covers?
All right, let's see what we got. I'm excited to see what I picked.
He doesn't know. He just sends stuff to me like, I thought that was cool.
These are some cool covers.
We got Venom Lethal Protector number 5. I mean that, and Venom in the Rain, and the tongue is always a thing, but I love the fact that they show like the jaw, the gristle, and the back of the teeth and the jaw there. That's just sick. I don't actually have what the middle one is written down.
It's John Chang.
Of course, it's that's right. It's comic character of the day's very own John Jiang alternative variant cover.
That's
one
awesome.
of the Venom covers. Look at that. That is sick. And then we got Venom number 2. I love the
7.
7, buddy.
My bad. Sorry,
That's all right.
My eyes aren't the best. But number 7. I love the ones where they show, half Venom, half not Dylan, Eddie. Right. And this one is a great combination of the two blended together into one great cover. I think those are all beautiful covers.
I especially like that one because it makes you feel like Eddie Brock's the symbiote in this one, and Venom is the real person behind it. And
Right.
because the face of Eddie Brock is kind of like forming around the Venom face.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Dan, how about you? What you got for top covers?
All right.
Nice.
All right, so for mine, I'll start on the end. I got Spider-Man 346, which you can also see on my spinner rack behind me. That's just such a great cover where his face takes up the whole cover, and then you see the giant teeth and the tongue and the slobber coming out, and then reflected in his eyes, you see like Spider-Man pulling back in terror. Like that's just, I mean, that's my favorite cover featuring Venom. Period. So fantastic. And then the middle one, Venom, the Enemy Within #1. I like how it's basically a black cover, and then it's just the white and the red and the green little bits for him on there. Where
that was Gleason before Gleason.
Yeah, where it's like almost where he's coming out of the shadows. And the bonus of this, which you can't see in this, but if you find a copy, you'll be able to see, is that the white parts of the cover glow in the dark. Which makes it just even cooler. And then the one on the end, Venom #1, it's not the issue from his most current series, because that's the one with his son, but the series before that when Donny Cates and Stegman took over. And it was just such an awesome cover where he's kind of just rage screaming at the sky, and you've got the lightning behind it, and you've got like the dark evil gargoyle that he's kind of standing in front of, and it's just such a badass looking cover. So
very, very Batman-esque. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It is very Batman-esque there.
Yeah. All right, Jamie, why don't you show us your top covers?
All right, and just to let everyone know, this is the first time I'm doing top covers, and I own all of these.
Awesome.
Nice, very good.
So we have Venomized #1. It's the variant edition.
That is awesome.
This is the first actual variant I ever bought that was like a 1 in 25.
Yeah. Nice.
I couldn't pass this up. It just, to me, the nostalgia of him crawling down, kind of just looking up at you like I'm eating you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Next up is the variant edition for Venom: The End.
Yep.
This is one of those ones like we kind of talked about earlier with the King in Black at the end, where he manipulated the sword and Mjolnir into one. I felt like this has that same feel to it because he's just creating again.
Yeah.
You know, he's learning more about the symbiote than anything else. And lastly, got to go with Venom #3. I for some reason this always hit the Jaws aspect to me, but to see, for those who are watching, like can see right now, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, like so small and Venom just so huge, like it just makes it so much better. I love that cover.
Those are pretty epic.
It's the Pit of Sarlacc.
Yeah.
To me, it's Tremors.
I was gonna say that feels like Jaws to me.
Yeah. All right, Sal. What about you, bud?
All right, I wanted some old school on these, and so I got that Venom, the Enemy Within, and glow in the dark cover. Can't go wrong with that. I love that one. I got that one slabbed. It's amazing.
You love that stuff.
Yeah. So let me just say, all the covers you guys just shown, I have them already. So
of course you do.
So,
hey, it was a first for me having.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome though. So my next one is Amazing Spider-Man 347. This is the one I was talking about with a badass moment. He's holding the skull up there. He's like, alas, poor Spider-Man. I killed him well. Very Shakespearean type. Shakespearean. I love it. But it's got just a bit of tongue, not so much, but good course with a lot. Just a bit of tongue. Just the right amount. Just the right amount. I'll admit there's been some panels where the tongue is just way too overdrawn, and I don't like it. But we're not going to go into that. So my last cover here is Venom Lethal Protector #2, and I like how he's like sticking in between the walls there, and it just feels like part of Spider-Man, but like you're in the back alley, you're doing some drug deal, and oh my God, there's Spider-Man. Oh crap, that's not Spider-Man, that's Venom. That type of thing. That's the feeling I get. And I like the fluidity of the symbiote on here because it looks like it's in motion. You got some veins there, and you got some bit of the shoulder. It feels like it's liquid, and it's not just a costume type of thing. And that's what I really love about that. So,
All right.
You know, looking at all of these covers, I'm thinking logistically, the fact that he has like razor sharp teeth in the tongue, he would be slicing that thing
it just
half off.
regenerates.
I mean, it would have to.
So, as always, we can always find these top covers at a great site. You know what that site is, guys?
I think I might.
Sales Comic Corner.
Yes.
Well, of course you can
Slab.
find it at Sounds Comic Corner. I'm talking a website where you can actually buy covers, excellent covers like
Ooh.
these here. It's called Heroes Corner Comics. So if you go to the heroscornercomics.com, you can check out their website. You can get like store exclusives. You can get back issues. You can get graded books. And if you use the word codex at CODEX, no hyphen, you can save 20% on that order. Plus, they do have a codex special bundle, which is 3 exclusive Hero Corner Comics books, and it's for $30. And yes, the codex coupon will work there as well. So you definitely got to check them out. They're also on Facebook under Heroes Corner Comics Insiders. And Jamie, don't we have a commercial for that?
Yes, we do.
Hit it.
Everyone, if you're anything like me, you love comics, but you also love a good deal. And our friends over at Heroes Corner Comics have just the deal for you. From exclusives to back issues, graded slabs, current issues, and even set up a subscription with them. And all you have to do is use the keyword CODEX at checkout. That's CODEX, and you will save 20% store-wide. So don't miss out.
Don't miss out. They are great people. They're good to work with. Their shipping is very secure, very fast, and they're very open to communicate with people. So I love these guys. I do a lot of business with them, and I highly recommend them. All right.
I think at this point we've all done a lot of business with them.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. All right. So as always, we got some good essential readings, and I'll kick this off with mine. So Jamie, if you want to throw those up there. All right. First off is Maximum Carnage. This is one of my favorites. This really shows the progression of the character, because he goes from not only just hating Spider-Man, but he kind of lets that go and accepts the fact that, Spider-Man is trying to do good, but he goes on to that tangent of where he's okay, well then I'm going to protect people my way type of tangent and still be that psychopath killing people. But like, Dan had said earlier, just ripping off arms in front of people and stuff like that, or trying to give the kids chocolate to cheer them up. So, but you see this progression in this character, which I liked. It evolved very well in this storyline. And so my next one is Lethal Protector Volume 1. You can't go wrong. This is a great story to read. You can really learn the character's like behind the scenes of how he thinks and how he's going to protect people. It's amazing. Next, last one I got is Venom Volume 2. Now, this is where we diverge a little bit, because this is not the Eddie Brock version. This is the Flash Thompson version. And I really like this one because it showed how Flash was able to use the symbiote to its fullest potential or maximum possibilities. There was one scene where he was going down, like he was in some Middle Eastern country. He's going down some alley. He's got 2 tentacles coming out the side of him. Both of those tentacles are holding machine guns. He's going down with 2 pistols, and he's just blasting as he's going down. It's just an amazing panel to see. So definitely read this to check this out, to see how Flash uses the symbiote to its maximum potential, I feel. So that's what I have for those. Dan, what do you got for recommended readings?
All right, so I've got I'll start at the bottom and go up. I've got Amazing Spider-Man 300, which is his first appearance, and then 315 to 317 when he comes back and has this, first multi-arc or multi-issue battle against Spider-Man. It's the introduction to the character. You find out who he is. You find out his origin, what he's about. He's got the first big battle with him. You see him, how he terrorizes Mary Jane to the point that it forces, even after Spider-Man got rid of the symbiote, he was still wearing the black costume. It terrorized Mary Jane to the point where she was like, you can't have this. You have to go back to your original suit. You can get it. I don't know if it's still in print or not, the collected volume, but I have it that I got when I was a kid. It's called Spider-Man versus Venom, and it's all the David Michelin and Todd McFarlane stuff. So it's got the couple pages from Amazing Spider-Man 298 and 299 where he just had the little cameos, and then it's got 300 and then 315 to 317. So it would kind of be that. Like I said, introduction to him was great. Lethal Protector, like Sal said, it's his first time out on his own where he's not an antagonist to Spider-Man, but he is the lead in his own book, and you see the character in kind of start to kind of be in a new light, but he's still, like Sal said, he's still the psychotic guy that will protect the innocent by finding the bad guy, ripping his arms off, and then giving the kid a candy bar. Here you go.
Yeah.
And then you got to go with King in Black. Like I said, even though I dislike the whole notion of like all these different symbiotes and all of this thing, it was just such a kick-ass storyline.
It was, yeah.
It was just such a great fun read that even though I don't like which kind of tells you how good it is, that even though I don't like the concept of there being like a ton of these different symbiotes and all this stuff, the story was so good that that I still got to put it on my recommended reading. And if you also want a good idea of what the status quo now is for the character, that's something that you absolutely have to check out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Good ones. All right, Kevin, what you got for recommended readings?
All right, we got King in Black as well. The story was so epic in scale. I mean, it was like next level. Just hugely engrossing with everything involved. I would recommend you picking up King in Black 1 through 5. I don't feel that King in Black, Daredevil, King in Black, Avengers, all of the like secondary offshoot stories were entertaining, but I don't think were necessary for the whole run of it. Venom number 300, the last issue of the last run, not the current run, kind of took place directly after King in Black, and it kind of established the current status quo of who Venom is and what he's all about. And then I got Separation Anxiety. There was a lot to unpack with that story. There's a lot of things going on, but what I thought was most entertaining about that was the Venom symbiote and Eddie Brock were separated and kept in very far away areas from one another. And it's the story of how the Venom symbiote jumps from host to host in order to make his way back to Eddie, who's his real partner, the love of his life, like, which has been implied figuratively as well as literally. They've touched upon the kind of romantic dynamic between the symbiote and Eddie, and there is something to that. And I think this is the first time they've kind of dipped their toe into that kind of interaction and dynamic between the two characters as one. Wonderful run. Separation Anxiety.
That's awesome. All right, Jamie, what you got for recommended readings?
Got something a little bit different.
Ooh.
As always. So one of the titles that I did actually start buying for the crossover aspect was Poison X.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big storyline between Venom and the X-Men, especially with the introduction of the poisons, which I felt were, especially leading into something like a King in Black, I felt they should have been more necessary throughout more of the storyline, but they weren't utilized that much. But in this series here, you get the kind of like Venomized versions of the X-Men. You get the poisons, which I thought, like I said, were underutilized altogether. Next up, I have Venom Volume 4. This is the Donny Cates Stegman run. There was no misses in this series to me. There's we were talking about shows earlier, like The Mandalorian. You need those kind of episodes where it's like, we're going to dumb it down for a minute, and then we're going to kick you right back up. There was none of that in this comic series whatsoever. And lastly, I got Venomverse. I I know, Sal, you were like, everyone, gets a symbiote suit, kind of like an Oprah show.
Yep.
But
I still
for
like
this,
it.
I love the series because of the fact that it almost reminded me of like a what if all these characters got, the symbiote. What would they look like? What would be the concept behind it? What, even the end where, spoiler alert, when you see like Thanos with a symbiote, you're like, oh god,
Game over.
how dangerous can this be?
Yeah.
So yeah, those would be my three.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I gotta say, Jamie, thank you for your pick, because I don't know how I missed it, but I've never even heard of Poison X before. So
yeah, it was right before Kate's and Stegman took over. It was near the end of that run for them. I think it was the last like 6 issues.
Yeah.
The 4 were like the crossover aspect. I think it was a 6-parter, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was,
but new to that,
because that was back when X-Men was like Pokemon cartridges. It was like blue, X-Men red, X-Men gold.
And we had the future, the past X-Men in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
I learned something new today. I have to pick that up and read it. So thank you.
They do have it in trade,
Awesome.
so
Okay.
definitely go check it out.
Definitely.
Sal,
Epic
didn't you have a few
honorable 1,000 mentions?
Yes. You want to hear 3 of them?
Sure,
Yeah.
we'd love to.
All right. Well, I won't go into details of them, but I've got the Dark Origin, the retold Venom story. So it kind of devolves into Eddie Brock as a child growing up, and you get to learn more of his back history or his painful past, I'll say.
What is this one?
Dark Origin, retold Venom debut story. Sorry. Ugh,
Okay.
I can't talk tonight. Planet of the Symbiotes, as much as I don't like it was getting oversaturated at a point, it was still a good story, and you got to see, more of it, more of the symbiotes out there, or more of their history, which is great. And I also like with the separation anxiety story. That was really good for me. I was gonna go on with that one as well. So that's 3 honorable mentions right there. Let me tell you.
Oh, real fast, I did forget to add one part that I wanted to say real fast with that Poison X storyline.
Yes.
The reason I felt they were so underutilized is because how fast King in Black would have ended with the poisons. You could have literally Eddie could have taken control of them, sent them in, and the whole it would have been done.
Yeah, true.
Like that's why I was like, they're so underutilized. Why is no one talking about the fact that you can grab one of the poisons, send them, and all the venoms are gone?
Yeah, very true.
I gotta read it. I gotta read it now.
And also, Jamie, I like the point where you were saying that you like to see how the symbionts formed on the all the other characters, like the what if situation, like what would it look like? And you got to remember that the symbionts were always taking on forms or abilities or characteristics of their host. So it was really cool to see that, because then they didn't look the same.
And some of them, you got some of like the deep dark secrets of those characters that you didn't necessarily think. Like you could look at something like an Iceman, for instance, and he's just like full spiked, like looking down, ready to go, and you're like, that looks terrifyingly good.
Yes.
I mean, an unhinged Bobby Drake, right, in and of itself is like terrifying. Put a symbiote on him, Jesus God.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so let's go into best writer and best artist. Now, these are guys that when we picture Venom, who do we go to when we picture Venom? So, Dan, why don't you kick us off with that?
For writer, I'm gonna have to go with the guy that created him, David Michelin. That's the Venom that I enjoy most. He wrote all the early stuff when he was in Spider-Man. He wrote Lethal Protector. He wrote Maximum Carnage too, right? Or at least
he did. Yep.
Amazing Spider-Man parts of it. Like he's the one that did Carnage, created Carnage too. So that's the iteration of Venom that I like best. As I stated earlier, so that's the writer I'm going to go with. And for artists, I'm going to have to kind of split it between 2 guys that, yes, Todd McFarlane co-created Venom. But the artists, I feel that like really defined Venom's look for years after that was Eric Larson.
Yeah,
When he
that's
took
good.
over. Yeah, when he took over Amazing Spider-Man after Todd McFarlane left it, like Todd McFarlane basically drew Venom as Spider-Man in the black costume that was really muscular with this like rictus kind of evil grin, and like fingertips that were claws. But Larson was the one that really drew him to the point where he would extend the jaw and make like the teeth like really kind of gnarly and have the big long tongue and the evil kind of drool. So I'll have to give it partially to him and then partially to, is that Bagley art? To Mark Bagley, just because, just like in our Spider-Man episode where I picked him as my as my favorite Spider-Man artist, I got to go with that here too. He drew the stuff in Maximum Carnage. And when they introduced Carnage, he drew Lethal Protector, and that is the Venom that I kind of think of, where he took what Larson did and he did pull back a little bit because Larson could get really extreme with the jaw and the tongue, and he pulled it back a little bit, but still had that going, and so that's the look that I go with.
All right, Kevin. What about you? What did you got for artists?
I want to be like go through and name some like deep dives of like, oh no, this guy and that. I can't. I gotta just go with Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman.
That's
The
always
current
a good choice.
They're hitting everything on all cylinders since their beginning. Venom is yours to do what you want, and everything that they've done has just been gold with that dude, despite some people's truly shying away from appreciating the hero aspect of them. But the stories and art have always been great with Cates and Stegman. So those are my guys.
Nice, good choices. All right, Jamie, how about you?
Okay, we're gonna talk about the dream team right here for Venom. If anyone ever wants one, that's got to be Donny Cates and McFarlane. Like, they collab like they do with Spawn's universe now. If anyone's checking that out, that is the way to do it. I think that would be, especially with the evolving art behind McFarlane now. If you see some of his drawings of Venom now compared to back then, it's night and day, totally different aspect, different vision that he has in his head. He can still draw Venom like he used to, but now he's like, oh, I'm adding this, it's just a Venom or the symbiote coming off of him. It's great. And if those two ever did a Venom, even if it was like a one shot, I would buy every variant for that. I'd be like sale for 5 minutes. Like, yes, take them.
What? I feel attacked. I feel attacked there.
I think we all want to be Sal for at least 5 minutes.
I would
just 5. All right, just 5.
Okay.
All right, so
that's all we need.
All right, so for me, I went old school, and I'm with Dan. I went with Dave Michelini for writer, and I honestly went with Bagley. But I do want to give a shout out to Eric Larson because he did do amazing work with him as well. But I'll be 60-40 with Bagley taking the 60 on that one. So it's just amazing, and that's who I picture. All right, so
I would like to add one more thing now that I'm thinking about it, if I may.
What you got?
It's another critique is I love the redemption arc for Eddie Brock, but the way they do him now with the long hair and the full beard, they're going a little bit full Christian Messiah feel for the character.
He's a god.
I understand, but it's a little bit on the nose, I think. Like, it's cool, but they're leaning a little bit heavily into the Christian aspect and mythos of the character. And it's an interesting take, but it's a little bit too like ass kissing for that character. Admittedly, he is a god, but I mean, it's a little on the nose, I think. But
okay, all right, fair enough. All right, I got a question for you guys.
Ooh,
the first 5 characters that were force spawned out of Venom, what were their names?
Oh, we went through this.
No, Carnage was not a fourth spawn.
Agony.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't forced.
Agony. Toxin.
Okay.
Scream.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
I don't think
That's not one of them.
No.
That's not one of them. That's not one of them.
That'd be cool if they did. And this is son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, hang on. Okay, so it's Agony, Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Lasher.
Yep.
Lasher.
Yeah. Oh, what was his? Oh,
Riot.
There you go.
Riot is one.
It wasn't.
And then
No.
it was Toxin. Oh no, it wasn't.
Toxin was the actually spawned from Carnage, I believe.
Oh, okay then.
West went with Lasher. I think we already said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, Sal.
All right.
Just before we all confuse each other.
Rip
And
the
what we
Band-Aid.
So I think we got them all. We got them all. Let me just pull up my list here so I remember because it's.
Oh, you don't even remember your own.
I
Wow.
do.
This is
I just
great.
got it. I just got it right here. There we go. Come on, open up. Open, please.
This is great for TV.
Open, please. Open, please. There we go. So we have Scream, Agony, Lasher, Phage, and Riot.
Phage. That was
Phage.
it. That was
Yep.
it. Yep. Straight.
I want to say that I'm going through a phase.
Yeah. So Toxin was the first spawn of Carnage. Okay, and it's basically
Right.
the strongest one of all the symbionts. And so the 5 symbionts actually were merged and called Mercury Phage. And then then other ones spawned from there. So it's just there's a whole family tree out there to see if you really want to look it up. All right, gentlemen.
Very
I think that
cool.
wraps up our comic character of the week this week.
Woo.
Good job, guys. Excellent stories, excellent covers, and good stuff all around. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys for doing this. Once again, I'm Sal the Slab Guy. You can always find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and under Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. Dan, why don't you give us a shout out and tell you where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram as well at Dan Kelly Art. I post art, music, and writing there a few days a week, so go check it out. Give me a follow and leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see me draw, what song you'd like to see me play, and then this guy right beside me has got something going on as well.
What's going on, everybody? I created a group over on Facebook and Instagram called Comic Character of the Day, where we post a different character, and I have a bunch of all these awesome dudes posting new and exciting things regarding this geekery that we all know and love every day. We'd love to have you come over and check it out and join up with us and become one of us. One of us.
One
One
of
of
us.
us.
One of us.
And then we
And
got
that being, take us on home, Jamie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, go check out the codexstation.com. It's your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some new and old merch. Check out the team. Full rosters up there. Now you get to see all of our beautiful faces and a Krispy Kreme sponsor that we're hoping to get. Let us know what you like, don't like. And at the very bottom, all of our socials are listed, so you don't want to miss out on anything that's coming up because there is going to be some new and exciting stuff coming for the Codex Station. We also have a shiny new Patreon, so if you guys didn't get a chance to during the episode, QR code is back up there. All you got to do is scan that with your smartphone or any phone at that matter at this point, and check it out just for a price of coffee. You can literally join us and get some exclusive content that no one else is getting.
Awesome.
So go check that out. Just to say, guys, I know I always end this the same way. You never know what anyone's going through out there. And I just want to sincerely actually say, be kind to one another. Everyone's fighting their own battle, whether they're smiling throughout the day or not. So always be kind. It's a necessity now.
Yeah.
So we will see all of you guys in the next one.
Nice. That's another
See ya.
one in the bag, Lee.
I'm ending this.